Hello there, it's Claire Boscott and I am your host today for my special mystery shopping experts interview. And today, all the way from Dubai, we have Chantal Fairtel. Sorry, I didn't say that right, did I? I said it about 4 times before and I didn't come out right. You say it, come on.
So it's Chanel, actually, like Chanel number 5.
Chanel.
Fenta. Yeah, Fenta.
There you go. And your company is Magnify. I got that right.
Yes, Magnify, correct.
Magnify.
Like the little magnifying glass, you know?
It's exactly what I was going to ask you. So why Magnify? Tell me all about this.
I mean, that was probably the funnest part, was coming up with the name for a company that does mystery shopping. So we eventually decided on Magnify for 2 reasons. So the first reason was we wanted to play on the magnifying glass of the little detective man that you always see associated with mystery shopping. Yeah. And if you see our logo, actually the eye is got a magnifying glass on top of it. So we kind of play on that. And then the second reason was because we were like, what is the purpose? What do we want to do? And essentially it was, we wanted to kind of zoom in to the customer experience and figure out what a typical customer goes through. And so that kind of idea of zooming and magnifying is how we then landed on Magnify.
Well, this is it, because really that's what mystery shopping does, doesn't it? It gives you a real idea of what's going on in your organization right here, right now. So it's really kind of, it's very powerful, isn't it? Just the way, you know, sometimes when you look at your customer experience strategy, could take, 6 or 12 months to see some improvement. But with mystery shopping, it's bang, it's, one visit and you can see the change already, can't you? Or you can see what needs to be changed.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like you're taking, there's 31 days in a month, and let's say you have one assessment a month. You're literally just zooming into one particular time, one particular customer on an average day. What are they going through? So yeah, it's a really powerful tool, and you get instant feedback that is instantly applicable. So yeah, 100% agree with you.
Excellent. So how long have you been doing your business? So you're based in Dubai and you specialize in a special industry, don't you?
Yes, an industry that's close to both of our hearts. So we specialize in the hospitality industry. So that's our area of passion, our area of expertise. And we're a new company, still a little baby company. We've been around for 1.5 years now. And yeah, it's been a pretty interesting journey in this 1.5 years. I mean, this year, like I said, was supposed to be a really big year for us. And obviously it's been somewhat of a challenge, and it's kind of kept us on our toes a little bit, but things are looking up, and it kind of looks like, the industry is slowly kind of finding its feet again, which is good news.
So you worked in hospitality. What's tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, of course. So I actually studied hospitality management.
Okay.
I wanted to do something where I could travel the world, and I thought, what can't beat hospitality? So I studied in Switzerland. I started, and then so as you know, as part of the study, you have to go and do an internship. So I found myself in Dubai doing my internship, and I just fell in love with the city, and so I just moved here. And hotel brand that is connected to my university that I graduated from, and that's how I found myself working my very first full-time job in a hotel. And it's been a pretty cool journey since then, to be honest.
Yes, I'm sure it is. It's an industry where you either love it or hate it, don't we? And when you love it, there's a real passion that never leaves you. That was 11 years ago. I used to work in hotels, and I'm still. Every time I got an hotel work, I'm like, yes, I love it. And I think because also, I think a lot of people see mystery shopping as a bit of fun, and we go shopping, and and when you start doing it as a profession, you start really kind of becoming an effective mystery shopper. You realize that actually it's not that easy, is it?
And this is honestly, whenever I tell somebody what I do, they're like, oh my gosh, it must be so much fun. You get to go and eat and stay in these places, and, and it must be just the best time. And obviously we're lucky that our clients in hospitality, it is a fun experience for an assessor to go and take part in. But you're right, it's a lot of work. And in order to be effective, you don't realize how much organization and prep is actually required to deliver quality reports, especially for a hotel. So if you think of a hotel stay, you're essentially coming into touch with, between 16 and 20 different kind of touch points, different experiences. And that means 16 to 20 different reports in one sitting, which is a lot of work. Yeah.
It is a lot of work, isn't it? It's a lot of things to remember as well, and some attention to details, which, in a hotel, in all industries, but, when things go very fast, you need to be sure that you remember names, you remember what happened, you remember timings, and all this, like you said, if it's 15 experiences in a day, you definitely haven't got the time to think, oh, I'm going to enjoy that afternoon today.
Exactly. And the thing is because one experience usually leads into another experience. So as you're checking in, you're then going into the room orientation and then the room itself. So you've got 3 experiences that you're trying to memorize and capture all the details, but you only really get a chance to input that data after all of those experiences are done. So it's a lot of work, a lot of remembering. You have to be on top of things. You have to be organized. I always say to my assessors, if they are organized, that's when they can get chill time, because you find that time to squeeze in some extra time at the pool, or, squeeze an extra hour out of dinner, or whatever it might be.
So do you recruit people? How do you recruit your team then? Because obviously hospitality is a little bit specialized, especially when you get into benchmark against the levels. So what do you have in Dubai? Do you have, it's not Michelin stars, but do you have an accreditations as well to be a 5-star or 6-star or 7-star hotel?
So they follow, typically it's they have their own kind of internal Dubai government set standards. So they actually come, the Dubai municipality will come and do audits to assess whether a 5-star hotel is maintaining its quality, or if it needs to be downgraded, or likely, vice versa, if it needs to be upgraded. And that's usually done by the tourism authority within the relevant emirates here in the UAE. Yeah, so there are standards, there are criteria that they have to meet in order for them to kind of get that 4-star, that 5-star ranking. And that's more audit side, and that's usually taken care of by the government entities itself. So where we are focused more on the experience side of things. So outside of ticking the boxes that are required for you to keep your 5-star rating, how are you actually making guests feel? What is the experience like? Is it memorable? Are you connecting with them? Are you engaging with them? Are you meeting their kind of core expectations? So we're kind of focused on that experience side of things. But you're right, recruiting for that is, it can be really difficult, because you do need quite a high caliber of assessors. And if you get it wrong, it's very costly. It's a very costly error. So our recruitment at the moment, we're kind of, because we're a new company, we're lucky that we can kind of stay almost like a boutique agency. So we have a small group of assessors, and most of the recruitment is done via word of mouth or referrals.
Yes.
So our assessors would refer other assessors, or people within my network or my connection. So that's how we are doing it at the moment, just so that we can keep the quality really high. So that's how we do it at the moment. That might need to change as we grow. We'll just have to see.
And do you have the clients kind of request special demographics? So would they request to have holidaymakers and locals and women and men, and so really kind of to give, a different feedback from all the demographics?
Definitely. We do get that, especially with kind of more specialized hotels and restaurants. What we do find is that they usually give us scenarios. So for example, they say our typical customer would look like this. And so we obviously always try and match the assessor to that. They say that they usually give us kind of an age range, especially Dubai, because Dubai is a bit of a melting pot. So there's so many different nationalities, and some venues attract certain nationalities while other venues attract other nationalities. So they are quite focused on which nationalities visit their venues, just because that's who their typical customers are. So nationality, age group, and yeah, often scenarios. So they'll say, okay, we're a business hotel, we want somebody who kind of replicates that, or we're a family leisure resort, so we need people who come with young children, for example. So they do ask us for that, and we are able to supply that to them as well. I mean, because obviously that's important, you know, when you're getting feedback, you want that to be from somebody who would actually go and visit your hotel or visit your restaurant, and not somebody that would probably never go and spend money there.
Yeah, the benchmark, they need to really kind of be at the same level as, you know, if it's a 7-star hotel, you need to know what a 7-star hotel look like. And so that's really challenging, isn't it? Really, I'm sure that's challenging in your in finding the shoppers, the mystery shoppers, to help you.
Yeah, it is very challenging. Yeah, it's definitely one of our biggest challenges, especially if we do have high caliber clients like that. I am lucky as well. So a lot of our assessors actually come from hospitality themselves.
Okay.
So we have restaurant managers, we've got general managers, we've got HR managers. So these guys obviously also have that kind of eye for detail that comes with being a hotelier. They know what to expect. They know what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And so that is really key for us when we deal with these kind of high caliber clients.
Definitely. Yeah, no, that's a really good point, that actually, just to be able to to have somebody who's already got that eye for it. It just saves a lot of the training for you, because do you do training as well with your mystery shoppers?
Yeah, we do a training. So we also have, we kind of have like I don't know what to call it, but like a promotion kind of system that we have. So any new assessor would never send to go and do a hotel assessment. So we start them off small, maybe kind of a casual dining restaurant, then they can kind of be promoted to the next tier where they're able to do some more of the fine dining, upscale venues. Then they get promoted to the next tier where they can kind of do the more casual hotels, or maybe the 4-star, 5-star kind of brands, and then they get upgraded to the luxury segment. So that's how we do it with our assessors internally. But we provide training for them, usually before their very first assessment on each tier. They're going to go through a training. But we are lucky as well, because we have this kind of smaller team of assessors. We have that one-on-one communication with them, so we're always at their disposal. They can always ask us questions. I know most of them personally, just over call and all that kind of stuff. So we do have a close relationship with them, and that kind of helps us to deliver really high quality reports.
Definitely. What do you think? Well, Chanel, what is the most important characteristic for you in a mystery shopper when you're looking for somebody?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. So for me, attitude for me is everything. I feel like if somebody has a great attitude, maybe some of the other skills can be honed. So I'm looking for people who are naturally quite positive. I'm looking for people who are organized, reliable, responsible, and you have to differentiate who is just there for a free experience and for a fun time. As you know, I'm sure.
A free hotel night.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh my God, I get to stay in a hotel, great. And then they send like a one-word report, So so you kind of have to differentiate. And usually it's people that are more organized, reliable, and also passionate about the industry. So people who actually spend their money on hotel stays, people who actually spend their money on eating out, and you kind of figure out where they eat out, where they stay, and you can kind of get a feel for kind of their customer profile. So for me as well, what's really important is communication skills. So people who have they can communicate well verbally, but also written skills and report writing skills, the ability to capture detail, specifics. These kind of things are obviously very important, and that comes from having really good observational skills. Now, when you're recruiting somebody, you don't know how strong the observational skills are until they go for their very first assessment. So that's always a bit of a learning curve for us. But I would say, definitely attitude and a passion for the industry, and somebody who legitimately wants to provide feedback in order to help the hotel or the restaurant, and not just, I get a free stay or a free meal.
I'm a great mystery shopper. I love shopping.
Yeah. Oh, I love staying at hotels. I would be great. Yeah, I mean, I get, yeah, and it's difficult. I mean, I'm sure a lot of mystery shoppers face this. You just get inundated with applications because, especially for someone in the hospitality industry where the experience is actually fun. And I mean, sometimes you're staying in a hotel where the experience can be, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 dirhams worth. And so to try and figure out who's there just for the freebie or who's there to really take it seriously can be quite difficult.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think because you look like you've got a bit of a bijou really offering, and you're really
I
specific.
love that. Bijou.
Yeah, really, you're really kind of, you're very specific in what you have. I've been speaking to mystery shopping companies over the last few weeks, and they have thousands and thousands of shoppers on their books, like 50,000 shoppers on their book, and you just
350,000.
I said.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine managing that. So I think you and I in a way very similar, because obviously being on a small island, we used to have to recruit.
Yeah.
We knew everybody, and to really be careful who you're sending where, because obviously they could be recognized and their cousins,
Exactly.
the neighbor, and all that kind of things. Is always a little bit. So it brings different challenges in terms of having a smaller team, but then you're recruiting for quality, and that's what you're going to deliver to your clients. So do you do? So you said you do hotels, restaurants, and then that's it. You're really kind of focusing on hotels and restaurants.
I mean, obviously pre-COVID, that was the strategy. We definitely want to remain hospitality experts, if you will, within this space. So our key clients are hotels, restaurants. We work with whether casual and more upscale restaurant brands, cafes, beach clubs as well, which is a big thing in Dubai.
Yeah.
But we are starting to work more with e-commerce businesses as well. Yeah. So obviously during COVID, a lot of the existing restaurants have to start offering home delivery services. And also there's kind of been this rise in e-commerce spend. So people who are ordering more from home. Mm-hmm. So we are starting to work with clients within this e-commerce space, but they are still linked to the food industry. So it would be people that, like premium butcheries, for example, or, vegan organic delivery, delivery portals, or cake delivery. So this is definitely where we're kind of seeing a bit more interest come through, and definitely an area that we want to focus on moving forward.
That's excellent. What do you think the biggest challenges are? Obviously, COVID-19 is here, but what in organization, what do you see their biggest problems are?
Oh, another good question. I mean, outside of COVID, so, obviously COVID's its own monster. I would say, especially here in this region, autonomy, especially in larger organizations. So what we see is that often the bigger the company, they struggle to keep up and adapt quickly, just because their decision-making process is a lot slower, and they have to jump through a couple of hurdles in order for them to change something, or in order for them to bring on something new, as a mystery shopper, as an example. So what this means is it's just very difficult for them to adapt to trends, and especially in a place like the UAE, things, especially restaurants, have quite a short shelf life. So it's new, it's glitzy, it's the it place to be for maybe the period of 6 months to 1 year, maybe 2 years if you're lucky. Wow. And then thereafter something else is the new it place to be. Wow. And so larger companies who struggle to make decisions quickly, to adapt. Okay, what's trending? What are people caring about right now? Okay, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do that. And we are finding them to that they're struggling to do this just because their internal processes are too slow. Yeah. So that's definitely one key area. And maybe another one I would say, again, especially from my experience in this region, is kind of fixated vision on short-term financial performance. Okay. So here in this region, we find that, again, large organizations, they have quite a high turnover when it comes to their senior management or their senior executive team. And what this means is that obviously they're very focused on a short-term financial gain or short-term financial performance. And for things like customer experience or employee satisfaction, it can be quite difficult, because these are often the areas that are cut or are neglected just because they're not linked, directly linked to driving revenue. And so we see programs like employee satisfaction or employee engagement programs, or like mystery shopping, are often the very first initiatives to go. There's no real investment in this space. And it's a shame because, you know, when you are so focused on financial in the short term, investing X amount now to see the results a year, maybe 2 years down the line just doesn't seem feasible. And so it can be very difficult for the industry that I'm in terms of customer experience, just because it's not always seen as a priority in driving revenue.
Yeah, it's very much seen as a cost, isn't it, rather than
yeah, for sure. And it's difficult, right? Because I mean, things like employee satisfaction or customer experience, they're not really tangible in terms of, okay, they brought in X amount of money in the month of November, right? They're indirectly linked, and so it can be quite difficult to prove the ROI of programs like that. And so that is definitely a hurdle over here. For sure.
I think, you know, and also like things like training. I mean, sometimes they drive me insane, you know, when you think they're spending thousands of dollars perhaps on advertising, but then they're not spending anything in training, and you're like,
yeah.
Why are you doing this? You're trying to flood people into your hotel, in your restaurant, but then you're not training yourself.
But you're not prepared.
You know, great service, so people will come. Then, you know, they're not going to get great experience. They won't come back again. So you're going to have to spend more money on advertising, and
it's like a vicious cycle, you know. And this, like, that is, you've actually hit the nail on the head. That's what happens to so many places here. You know, they invest so much in social media and influencers and advertising and all of this attraction activities, but then they get there, you know, their expectations are set here because all of their advertising has sold them on this experience that they're going to get, but they're just not prepared internally because they haven't invested in it. And then what do people do? They just don't come back, and you're just spending and not seeing a kind of a retention. And that's what people struggle to understand, is how important retaining your customers are. Especially in Dubai, where competition is really, really high. I mean, we have a lot of 5-star hotels, a lot of really great restaurants. I think the stat was in 2019, a new cafe opened up every single day in Dubai.
Wow, that's incredible. Wow.
Every single day, yeah.
It's massive. Yeah,
it's mental.
Yeah. And you think as well, even hotels, you look at, I don't know how many beds are in Dubai, but just the size of the hotels, it's filling them in, isn't it? It's filling the, you know, having butts and beds.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's what we've kind of seen the struggle maybe in the last 2 years, even before COVID, was this struggle between, you know, charging a good average rate or driving occupancy. And because there is so much competition, you have rooms with, I mean, hotels with like 500, 600 rooms. It's a really difficult task, especially when you've got another 5-star hotel literally like a stone's throw away.
And this is it, yeah. And you need to, but I think at the end of the day, it comes back to the experience that you deliver, the service that you deliver. You know, if you truly generally care for your customers and your employees first, they'll deliver, you know, they'll give great care to your customers. So it really is, it's not just about doing one thing in terms of perhaps just one mystery shopping or one training. It's about putting something all together. It's a whole strategies that you should have, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And that comes up with, you know, mystery shopping is only one component, you know, that's part of that strategy, but for sure it's so important. And we are starting to see, I must say, even despite COVID, we are starting to see more, especially restaurants starting to invest more in their customer experience, which is really good to see, actually.
Good. Yes, I like it. And then next time I'm flying over to Dubai, I'll be doing a few visits for you as well. You can count me on the year. Put me on your books for
Fantastic.
sure.
More than happy to.
Absolutely, would love to. Well, Chanel, thank you so much. That was just really, really cool to speak to you. What if people want to know more and perhaps work with you? Where do they go? How can they find you?
So we have a website where obviously most of the information on the company can be found. So it's magnify-co.com. We're also present on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, you can find us as Magnify LLC. We're also on Instagram and Facebook, so at magnify.uae. So we often, I mean, for those that, are interested in becoming mystery assessors, we do different kind of, recruitment drives throughout the year, and so they can just stay up to date on social media. But yeah, those are kind of the key platforms to find us.
Excellent. So you don't have a login directly into the system. You need to have that conversation with them first before you take them through the process, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. So there's an application process that's involved. So they go through obviously filling out forms, and then also we do interviews with every single one of our applicants. And then if they're successful, that's when they get kind of loaded into our system.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I will put the details under the video, so it'll be easier for everybody to kind of to get it as well. But Chanel, thank you so much for talking to us and sharing a little bit of what's going on in Dubai, and and I'm looking forward to coming visiting you there. And yes, let's speak again very soon.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me, Claire.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.